let's go on to our next topic. It's going to be my topic. I don't want to go too much into throw up. It's kind of about it's about the Zika virus. And I chose that we haven't talked about this really at all. And for a while there, we weren't. Look at that. Steve's ready.
Because I got millions of mosquitoes.
Partly because
and you're in Florida.
And you're in Florida. So right, those reasons there is like it's in the United States now. It wasn't before. We didn't know a lot about it. We knew that it was dangerous. We knew that it had effects on the fetus. But we didn't know to what degree. We knew some things, and we didn't know how it affected adults and all this other stuff. More and more information is coming out. It is spreading like wildfire. It has come to the United States. It is increasing in the United States. It is becoming a very hot topic in Congress, one of the top 3. And it has yet to be cured or even put aggressive action against in the United States. It's also bringing up a lot of morality questions that I think are interesting. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit with you guys and get your opinions on what you think about the virus in terms of, let's see, what does it mean for the United States, like people living in the United States for Zika? You guys, Ian and Steve, you live in Florida. What are you guys seeing? There's a question of Congress taking like weeks off of recess without approving a $1.1 billion bill to help fund services to stop Zika and look for a cure. So they're sitting on their ass about that. They're also getting caught up with nonsense political impeachment
being added
process.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then on top of that, there is the question of if our foreign aid should go to helping victims abort these babies that are ultimately going to be born with permanent defects, living lives that they don't really, that are almost meaningless, right?
Right.
So we can start off with how you guys are feeling in Florida right now. It's obviously started in Florida, United States. It's already gotten cases in New York. There's something like 2,500 cases in the U.S. alone that are travel associated. Puerto Rico, at its current rate of infection, will be at 25% of the population infected with Zika. Puerto Rico is right around the corner. People constantly go to and from there from the United States. It's crazy. So what are you guys feeling? How are you feeling in Florida right now?
Well, first of all, Clay, I just want to say I've seen these mosquitoes. These are racist mosquitoes. We need to build a wall and get these mosquitoes out of here. That was a bad Trump impression.
I wasn't sure if you're doing Robert De Niro.
Don Corleone.
Is this Robert De Niro? And then I started getting the Trump. Yeah,
it's gonna be huge.
Yeah, that was really good.
I don't know. Like, I haven't done any research. I just know that it affects like the like you're saying the process like with the brain or something and the fetus or something like that.
Yeah,
it makes
so
it
it
smaller.
causes.
Like, what does it do to human? Like, I don't even know what it does. Like, if I was to get the Zika virus from a mosquito, would it do anything to me?
Yes. As an adult, it's a mild illness that includes fever, rash, joint pain, red eyes. Right. We don't know the extensive.
That'd suck if you smoke marijuana.
Yeah, but we don't know the extensive results if you're a baby right now. We know exactly what it. Well, we know what it does to a fetus. A baby doesn't have to worry about getting mysolephaly. I'm probably not saying that right, but it's
the shrinking
in the brain, causes severe brain damage and cellular degeneration. As an adult, it's not as problematic. However, if you have it, you can spread it just like you can with the HIV virus. So if you get pregnant, you pass it down to your kids, and that's how you get it. So we really need to find a cure, because at this rate, in a couple years, everyone's going to have it, right? Because it's spread through mosquitoes. It could be spread through sexual intercourse. So without an actual proper way to stop it, it's just going to keep spreading.
And it also can stay in semen for, I believe,
a week.
Yeah,
like
it's a while.
It's like 6 months or something.
Well,
Really?
the CDC recommends waiting 6 months between travel overseas in areas that have the Zika epidemic, and I think it's like six months of abstaining from sexual intercourse or using protection like condoms, stuff like that. So it can stay in the system for a really long time, and I'm not quite sure if you can transmit it female to male,
Yes.
but I can imagine you can. So I mean, if you continue to have unprotected sex with the same person or multiple people who are infected, you will just keep getting infected, which is like horrible.
Yeah.
So,
Oh man, so it just back and forth like ping pong.
And
Yeah.
it's not even like
That
AIDS
sucks.
where intercourse is like you can get it through mosquitoes, right? So you don't even have to worry about don't have sex with that shady person, right? Like it's like just if you got hit by a
Almost guy.
mosquito, you can now
You got that
unknowingly
Zika?
spread it. You got that Zika?
You got that Zika?
Let me see your fetus.
Oh man, my Zika's acting up.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's actually drawing a lot of parallels and similarities between the AIDS virus in the 80s and the way it started to come up and was kind of brushed off as not serious. Partly for the 80s for AIDS was because they thought it was only isolated to the gay community. 80s being what it was, really thought this was not a problem. As it became more and more a widespread problem, then Congress started to drag their feet in trying to get funding. So we're seeing the same thing in Congress. There is a $1.1 billion bill trying to get passed. However, the Republicans are busy trying to find a way to impeach the commissioner of the IRS for targeting conservative groups, trying to get tax cuts, so that's where their focus is on. And the Democrats are just recently stopped the bill from passing because there's language in there that prevents funding to Planned Parenthood, which is a number one healthcare provider for a lot of people. So you have both sides dealing with their issues for this bill, and the result is money being run out to help prevent and stop and cure this disease, right? So, and then on top of that, like I mentioned, they took 3 weeks of recess.
Yeah.
So there's
no
that.
big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
Can animals get Zika?
I don't know. I don't
I've
know.
done research, Clay.
Trying here. I'm trying. The other
It's your
thing,
topic.
so I mentioned that you can get all those rash symptoms as an adult, but you can also develop Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is weakness and paralysis that is temporary.
As an adult.
As an adult, yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
like I said, like you could also have it, and then if you get pregnant, you can pass it down to kids. So people are freaking out, and there's a lot. I've read stories of people in Florida who are pregnant and are asking their physicians like, should I move? And in an ideal situation, a physician's answer without batting an eyelash is get the fuck out of there. Yes, you're pregnant. You are at high risk, right? But not everybody has those means. One, is very expensive to move. Two,
Yeah.
where you move to, can you have your job? Can you even find a job that you can sustain your lifestyle with? So a lot of people most people are not lucky enough to do that. Some are, and they have taken that and left. And we've had one kid, luckily, before this got really crazy. I can't imagine Billy and Michelle. You guys are recently married. I don't know if kids are in your future. Ian, you're married. I don't know if kids are in your future. Steve, you're an
They
old
are.
fart. You're not gonna have kids, so this doesn't really
Nope.
pertain to you. But like that's a question that you have to ask yourself. Like, do I want to chance this? Because the result could be horrific, right?
Yeah, we got married in Costa Rica and
In May,
in May.
when this was like,
Infected. Okay.
yeah, when this was like all starting. So I'll let Billy tell the story, but
Yeah, I mean,
it was
we-
a headache.
Yeah, like we had to warn all our guests, and obviously all of our close friends are around the age where they're having kids, and so
Oh,
we
yeah.
had one of our best friends not come to the wedding because of it. I'm planning a bachelor party for one of my friends, and he wanted to go to South America. Then we talked about the Zika thing. They were like, maybe we should just not go, because again, it's going to run into the same problem where lots of our friends are going to start trying to have kids soon, and they may not go.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
even just from a travel consideration, it's something that has a big impact. But yeah, if it gets worse and starts creeping up, United States, it's definitely going to be a bigger and bigger issue.
Yeah.
Of course.
Marco Rubio is running for Senate, so I don't know how much of this is hyperbole, but he has explained that not getting the funding to help prevent Zika in Florida specifically has resulted in millions of dollars loss in touring because people they're waiting to come visit Florida, right, which is a large portion of their income. And they're just scared. Nobody wants to either move there or go there, right? Because they're waiting for this thing to blow over, but they're going to be waiting for a very long time, which has detrimental effects to Florida's economy. So
Well,
So that was gonna be like a Zika check going out to people, kind of like the oil spill that happened. The businesses and shit, like, oh yeah, they're gonna get the Zika check now. It's gonna come out of the taxpayers' money and everything.
Yeah, and I got a big question here. Why the hell does everything happen down here in Florida?
I don't
Like
know,
all the
man.
crazy stories, like
It's because
You
that's
guys
where
are
everyone
the toilet
goes.
bowl of America.
I agree. I
But
agree.
Well, I mean, you can't have beautiful
get
weather
outta
year
here.
round.
We don't.
it's hot as shit.
It's so hot right now. I'm outside. I'm sweating my ass
in
off.
a long sleeve.
Mosquitoes everywhere.
Why don't you guys
It's
move?
not long sleeve. It's
Why
short.
don't you guys move?
Doesn't matter. It's really light. It's nice. You can wear it if you want. I'll let you borrow it. Can you come
Okay,
over?
cool.
Yeah. Okay. Later.
How funny would it be if you just see me get into his camera?
Hey, what's up?
That's
Well,
fine.
I think like going back to Zika, I think it's also people need to start thinking long term too. Like if Zika continues to spread, it's going to cause a lot of health problems, right? In babies as well as adults, as well as like sexual health, stuff like that. And so that's going to cost the government and insurance millions and millions, probably billions of dollars, taking care of these people, and especially the babies that are affected with it. I mean, that's a long life thing unless you abort, which is a whole different issue. But, you need to start thinking of it long term, even if, we stop it now. I mean, I'm sure we're spending lots of money on the cases that are happening right now. So,
Clearly not enough,
Yeah.
but we have taken $600 million from unused Ebola funding, which a lot of countries are starting to do now because Ebola has been somewhat taken care of. And
Yeah.
this has succeeded, that as an issue. And so we've used our own money, 600 mil, to, but that's not enough. That's almost run out, right? That's why this 1.1 billion is very important. And so Congress is trying to figure this out. They're also trying to figure out, trying to get money, right? Because
I guarantee you, if this starts going closer and closer to Washington D.C., they will start pumping money into this.
there apparently there are
project.
cases in Washington D.C.
I don't see
Yeah.
how it cannot spread. I mean, it's mosquitoes.
I know they're everywhere.
It's not like there's like a freaking line where they're not gonna cross.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just staying
Georgia
in
Florida
Florida.
border.
Oh, fall.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot
we're
of
not
people
gonna
here
go
we haven't
Georgia.
infected yet.
So,
So, I gotta
I
be
read
right back.
I read a story, and it's got this image. I apologize because I forget the senator's name, but he came into the Senate with a container of 100 mosquitoes, and he picked it up, and he was like, "Can you imagine what would happen if I opened this up right now? How
That'd be a
many
terrorist
people would
act,
run
wouldn't it?
away in
That
fear
would be a terrorist act,
and
probably.
put irrationally put amount of bug spray on?" He's like, These are the thoughts and emotions and anxiety that's going through every Floridian right now. We need to stop this. And I was just like, holy shit, you are one step away from, terrorist act. People are going to
Yeah.
have you.
It's like
like biological warfare.
Yeah. So can you imagine, Monday morning, you're like, yeah, that's cool. I had a great weekend. Mosquitoes, you're like, what the fuck is happening? That's Monday morning's conference. Oh, yeah. That would be scary. But to go back to the abortion comment that you made, Michelle, so we give a lot of money to Malaysia. Malaysia currently has the right to abort a fetus if it endangers the life of the mother. This doesn't endanger the life of a mother, but it absolutely endangers the life of a child. So there's a morality question in play here, as if you adjust the laws to allow a woman to abort a Zika positive fetus. Curious, you don't have to share if you don't want to, guys, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on your stance on that, or what you think about that, or if the law should change for that, temporarily at least.
Is there a specific trimester that can be discovered? Because isn't there a certain point, kind of cutoff for aborting a fetus, or I guess that they are allowed to do, not counting DIY stuff that people do.
I think they can test the blood right now, which allows it to go a lot quicker, and I think you can find out. I'm not sure, so you can't quote me on that one, but I forget the exact. I think it's 6 or 9 weeks pregnant is the cutoff.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
I was I saw this thing on
Maybe I'm wrong.
Twitter or something the other day where it's someone did an abortion and was 8 months pregnant.
No, that's illegal. That is absolutely illegal.
I think that's what I mean. I don't think you can legally go to the hospital and get that done, or the abortion clinic. I think that's creepy
DIY
people
thing, like you
that
said.
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how you do it, but
Do it yourself.
I don't want to think about it. But yeah, okay. I mean, I think anybody should be entitled to do it if it's within that time frame.
Yeah.
If it tests positive, I mean, people can do it for a reason, even if it doesn't have the Zika virus, right?
I don't know about that.
I guess it depends on the state you're in as well.
Yeah,
Too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just like Planned Parenthood is what supports it, right? And I think that's
Right.
why there's so much cause around here. It's like, this was not planned. We support you in wanting to abort something that was not planned, and you can as long as it meets the law of X amount of time has passed.
I see.
With this being just something completely out of your control, like I do feel that a mother has the choice to. I mean, I understand that it doesn't kill the mother, but this is a whole lifestyle change, right? This is not something that is like, oh, the condom broke, right? Like this is, and we have now a perfectly formed baby, and we're gonna live a lifestyle that's supported by society. Having a kid that's born with the Zika effects, I mean, you're spending the rest of your life taking care of this kid that, who knows what
Hospital
lifespan
bills forever, like
yeah, that's financial debt. That's mentally
I mean,
exhausting.
that's a kind of a slippery slope, right? Like, say your kid is born with like Down syndrome or something,
Right.
you're still probably going to be taking care of them for your entire life.
Yep, that's my
with,
mind goes
like,
that
medical
too.
bills, and it's like, should you, if you knew your kid was going to have Down syndrome, would you like get it aborted?
That is a question that many parents are faced with when they find that out, because I believe you find out
You
early
can't
enough,
you can't
right?
find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the difference that I would argue between Zika and something like a handicap, right, is that, again, our society has more support for that. There's
Sure.
the Special Olympics, right, as a horrible example. But, like, there's a lot of support in education, school, hospital. Like, there's stuff there that if you have someone with Down syndrome or a mental disorder, you can get help and live it's not going to be a normal life, but it can be pretty close. Zika is just, we don't have any of that right now.
We don't even know right?
Long-term effects,
'Cause
right.
nobody has gotten to the age, to
Well,
old
there-
age with Zika yet.
Right.
Well, think about this too. There's kids that are born with AIDS,
Yeah,
or
but
like not AIDS, but
but-
HIV.
sure, but they can live a normal lifestyle. They'll eventually, they'll probably live a shorter lifestyle, but it's not something where I mean, we talked about this, having a little kid or a cat being always there and waiting for. There's a point in which the kid leaves the nest, or you can leave him with a babysitter, or you can like put him into a daycare. A kid with all these special needs that can barely function. We're talking about one of the parents can't work or have to hire full-time help. It's exasperating, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it ultimately comes down to quality of life for the child itself, you know? I mean,
Sure.
even not even talking about the parents, like a kid with Zika who has microcephaly, like they're basically non-functioning. I mean, they are totally dependent, but it's also like they can't experience things,
Right.
As in, like at any significant level.
Right.
Well, I guess it comes down to too. Also, like, what's your definition of living? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think there's lots of morality questions within.
Yeah.
Right.
I think just about abortion in general, though, too. It's like at what point, or like people who are in vegetative states. I mean, I think it's kind
I
of
can
a
tell we're
similar,
really
similar
tiptoeing
statement.
around this.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, nobody.
I know it's a
don't think anybody
sensitive
here
subject.
knows somebody that has Zika virus or
Yeah.
like has experience with it. It's so
Sure.
new. It's so brand new. You can't really say definitive statements at this point.
And we don't want to
That's-
say that there's a
Right.
right or wrong answer. I think is also what Alan is saying. And that's
Right.
why there's some tiptoeing going on, because
Yeah.
there's so much gray area and questions of what really it means to you individually. And then where it gets tricky is when you have broad stroke paint by number laws that say this is
Right.
the cutoff point because we believe arbitrarily that at this week it is now a human and you cannot do anything regardless, right? So that's where it gets, that's where the questions come into play.
I wonder if there's any exceptions for Zika virus babies. Like I've heard of late term abortions, terminations. So I honestly I don't know the cutoff point for that, but I think it might be later than the first trimester.
There is, and the current question going on right now is do we add Zika on that? But it's molasses over there down in DC, so getting any of that stuff done.
It's molasses.
It's molasses.
in there, DC.
It's a quagmire inside of a quagmire.
Born out of your mouth.
Yeah. So like it's just taking really long, and I think I don't know. I agree. I think it should definitely be a part of that, but. And then also like Malaysia would have to change. Like there's other countries like Brazil too that would need to change stuff like that where abortion is completely illegal, right? And that's just
Oh wow.
it's crazy. And then we're talking about think about, it's weird too, right? There's a whole generation that could potentially just not be born. Like, we're talking about the baby
Children
boomers,
of
right?
men.
Baby boomers are huge, right? Because World War II, 5 kids per family. Then we had a real like shrinkage, right? Generation X, it was small, and then the baby boomers kids grew. That we had the millennials, and so now they're starting to rival the amount. But now we're talking about not only a shrinkage of that normally that you saw after the baby boomers, but now we're seeing people wait even longer and longer to have kids on top of the Zika virus. So like, what is that generation gonna? That generation is gonna be so tiny. And potentially, like, a whole, like, we might just not even have a third grade class. There just might not be a third graders. Because like a couple years that happened with the Zika, everybody was, like, freaked out. So that's kind of crazy to even think about.
Well,
And-
maybe that's like the government's way of just population control then.
Well, I thought it was
dude,
the
the
natural.
tinfoil is
Conspiracy
there.
theory.
The tinfoil is there.
Yeah.
The Earth is also flat.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up! I'll kill you.
Anyway, okay, we beat it to death, but I just wanted to get your opinions on that stuff. About it. We knew that it was dangerous. We knew that it had effects on the fetus, but we didn't know to what degree. We knew some things, and we didn't know how it affected adults and all this other stuff. More and more information is coming out. It is spreading like wildfire. It has come to the United States. It is increasing in the United States. It is becoming a very hot topic in Congress, one of the top 3. And it has yet to be cured or even put aggressive action against in the United States. It's also bringing up a lot of morale services to stop Zika and look for a cure. So they're sitting on their ass about that. They're also getting caught up with nonsense political impeachment
Being added
process.
into it, yeah.
Yeah. And then on top of that, there is the question of if our foreign aid should go to helping victims abort these babies that are ultimately going to be born with permanent defects, living lives that they don't really, that are almost meaningless, right?
Right.
So we can start off with how you guys are feeling in Florida right now. It's obviously started in Florida. The questions that I think are interesting. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit with you guys and get your opinions on what you think about the virus in terms of, well, let's see, what does it mean for the United States, like people living in the United States for Zika? You guys, Ian and Steve, you live in Florida. What are you guys seeing? There's a question of Congress taking like weeks off of recess without approving a $1.1 billion bill to help fund the United States. It's already gotten cases in New York. There's something like 2,500 cases in the U.S. alone that are travel associated. Puerto Rico, at its current rate of infection, will be at 25% of the population infected with Zika. Puerto Rico's right around the corner. People constantly go to and from there from the United States. It's crazy. So what are you guys feeling? How are you feeling in Florida right now?
Well, first of all, Clay, I just want to say I've seen these mosquitoes. These are racist mosquitoes. We need to build a wall.
Let's go on to our next topic. It's gonna be my topic. I don't want to go too much into throw up. It's kind of about it's about the Zika virus. And I chose that we haven't talked about this really at all. And for a while there, we weren't. Look at that. Steve's ready.
Because I got millions of mosquitoes.
Partly because
And you're in Florida.
and you're in Florida. So right, those reasons there is like it's in the United States now. It wasn't before. We didn't know a lot about.